Hello again, and welcome to Day 3 of our Moab trek. In this episode, we were headed back home to Grand Junction, Colorado, but we still wanted a little bit more off-road action before calling it a weekend. The kids were a bit worn out and didn't want yet another long day in the Jeeps, so we decided to take the scenic route home via Highway 128 and ran Dome Plateau. The colors in this video were a bit wonky. I'm not sure what was going on with my camera at the time, but it made the colors look overly saturated or just didn't have any saturation at all. It was really strange. A good reason to use a flat color profile if you have a GoPro. The night prior, I studied the maps and I found a right turn on Dome Plateau that significantly cut down the time spent on the full-length trail. You can see it highlighted in red here. This was a good compromise as we could be off the trail by lunchtime, which the kiddos really appreciated, but it still allowed us a little bit more time to wheel. As we approached the first gate, I looked back to see a white two-door with temporary plates on it working his way up the difficult section. I drove through the gate and then walked down to see how he was doing and asked if he wanted to convoy with us for a bit. He said sure, but admitted this was his first time out with his new Jeep and he was still trying to get used to things in 4-low with a manual. Seeing this new Jeeper out on the trail reminded me of our first time running it nearly 2 years earlier with the Grand Mesa Jeep Club. We bounced along the trail for a couple of miles until we hit a fork in the road. We waved to our tail gunner in the white two-door as he went left down the normal Dome Plateau path, and we went right. Dome Plateau is a fun trail, but doesn't video all that well, and it's kind of underwhelming at this point, so I thought I'd talk about our Jeeps and give a little bio of each as they stand. First up is my maroon 2012 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. This vehicle replaced my trusty 1999 Jeep Cherokee Sport. I drove the Cherokee for over 15 years and had a modest 3-inch lift with 31-inch tires on it. I still miss my XJ, but trading it in allowed us to buy the 2012 JKUR. The weekend after we bought this Jeep, we took it out to Bangs Canyon, a local trail near home, to see how it performed. The Jeep did very well, but we were stopped short on the trail by a large convoy of Jeeps coming down the mountain. Shortly after getting turned around, the leader of this group pulled up alongside us and said, "Hey, want to join a Jeep club? Follow me." We squeezed in behind him and stopped at a large clearing further up the trail. We watched as almost 20 Jeeps lined up one by one. Someone walked up to us and introduced themselves, and then said that this was the Grand Mesa Jeep Club. They also invited us to join them on their next trail run in Moab on Dome Plateau. Reluctantly, I said, we just bought the Jeep. I'm not sure I want to take it and bust it up on a difficult trail just yet. He looked at me and says, "Nah, Dome Plateau is no different than what you've already run today on Bangs Canyon. Meet us in Fruita tomorrow morning if you want to join us." We discussed it between ourselves and nervously decided to give it a go. It was official. We were bitten by the Jeep bug. The 2012 was nearly bone stock when we bought it. It had a larger set of tires, but that was really all it had. Since that time, there's been numerous upgrades and mods done. A couple of Craigslist lifts, an iDrive, seat covers, and more. Today it is sitting on a set of 37 1250-17 Milestar Patagonia MT tires. It has full steel bumpers, and also an Android radio upgrade. Please add a comment below if you'd like to hear more about these upgrades. The next Jeep is the orange 2009 JKUR. We bought this Jeep only 1 year after buying the other maroon Jeep. That bug really bit hard. This is our overlanding Jeep, and we purchased a Cargo Master Congo Pro rack with a rough stuff 4-person rooftop tent for it. We also added bar track seat covers, an aftermarket remote starter, seat heaters, and I moved my Mopar touchscreen radio over to this Jeep. The Jeep currently sits on 285/70-17 BFG mud trains. Dome Plateau is your typical 2 or 3 rated trail that weaves its way through a vibrantly colorful desert landscape. There were some 2-foot ledges to climb to get up on top of the small mesas, but for the most part, it was a fun little trail that we had all to ourselves. This section of the trail was about 20 miles from Moab, and we were already 5 miles into the trail off the main road. There was a definite feeling of remoteness. And then the trail started to get softer and more muddy, and then even more muddy. And and eventually we found ourselves looking down into a small valley with standing water and clay. That is a recipe for sticky cement mud. The only way out of this situation was to power through. We were slipping and sliding all around, but thankfully we had no real issues, and were able to get back on the trail and climb up to the mesa tops where it was much drier. Please remember to subscribe to the Jeep Groove to see more great videos. I'll be posting a video up soon of new tube doors just in time for spring, as well as another run with the Grand Mesa Jeep Club. See you then!